So nobody mother F me or anything as I'm recording it. Okay? Okay, here we go. Number one. Find, notice how I wrote capital F of X. Basically, I'm asking you to do the antiderivative. Very similar to the one that I just did on the board, right? Very similar. So let's see what we can do here. Let's see if I can write it. So we need to first rewrite this function. And I'll try to do this up here in the left-hand corner. So f prime of x, let's get this rewritten. And I know some of you are going to be ahead of me because I'm trying to write my iPad here. That would be x. So let's see. 3 minus a half would be 2.5. So x raised to the 5 halves minus 3x to a half plus 5 what? X raised to a what, guys? Piper, x raised to a what? Good. That's key. Now let's take the antiderivative. So I'm going to go x 5 halves plus 1 7 halves. I'm going to divide by 7 halves. Can I just go straight to 2 sevenths? Minus, now I'm going to write this one out. 3x 1 half plus 1 is 3 halves. I'm going to go ahead and write over 3 halves. Plus 5x negative 1 half plus 1 half, so I'm going to divide by 1 half. Okay, let's finalize it now. And then don't forget plus c. Maybe you should write it there so you don't forget at the end. The function f of x is what? 2 sevenths x raised to the 7 halves. Okay, negative 3 divided by 3 halves. So I'm thinking off to the side, negative 3 times 2/3, which would give me negative 2, right? X raised to the 3 halves plus 10 x raised to a half plus c. I know it's a little ugly there. Hopefully you could hear what I was saying. Questions? Guys, you know it's coming. Be ready to handle it. Okay? Easiest thing I've ever done in your life. Cookie, you talking over there? All right. So there's our answer. It goes with that one. I got the answers on the next slide. Okay. All right. Consider the following problem. Man, I wish I wouldn't have put that problem right there in the middle of the page. A farmer with 890 feet of fencing wants to enclose a rectangular area and divide it into 4 pens with fencing parallel to one side of the rectangle. What is the largest possible total area of the 4 pens? All right, let's get our picture drawn here. We got a what? We got a rectangle. How many pins? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call this X. Let's call this Y. We want to maximize area. So area is X times Y. Our perimeter, which I gave you, perimeter is our amount of fencing is what? 890 feet of fencing equals, how many X's are there, guys? 2x, and you're not going to make the mistake again like on the quiz. There's how many Y's? Look up on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Y. Ah. Okay. Let's solve for x. So it would be what? 890 minus 5y divided by 2 is x. Is that correct? And now we're going to go plug that into our area function. So the area in respect to y would equal 890 minus 5y divided by 2 for x times y, and I would just distribute that y through. You guys agree with me on that? I would get this. I'm all over the place here. I know. I apologize, guys. It's hard to write on this screen. So let's go area in respect to y. Before I take the derivative, I'm going to, what's 890 divided by 2? That's what? 445 y minus 5 halves y squared. And now we're going to take the derivative, which becomes 445 minus 5y. Well, that works out easy. Okay. See how, listen guys, you're going to be taking derivatives and antiderivatives on the same test. Okay? Let's go, right? Sounds fun. Good. Okay? So what's 445 divided by 5? What's y? What is it?
89.
89? Before I check for x, do I have an agreement it's 89? What do I need to do before I find what x is? Second derivative. Let's verify we found a maximum. The second derivative of y would be just what? Negative 5. So the second derivative of 89 is a negative value, which means concave down, which means we have a relative max. Good. Okay, so if y is 89, what do we get for x, guys? We plug in, I would go right here. Just plug in right here. 890 minus 5 times 89. Hit enter. Divide by 2. That's not, what is, I didn't mean to, doggone it, I just lost my entire work. Okay, you guys got to help me here. What's x? So y is 89, what's x?
222.5.
Thank you. 222.5, 222.5. Now let's answer the question. What is the largest possible total area of the 4 pins? It's 89 times that. Are you guys getting the 19,802.5 square feet? Answer the question. You know it would be really tricky of me? On an optimization multiple choice question, I asked like a question like that, but A is 89, B is 222.5, and like E is the 19,802.5. That would just be mean. Do it. Do it. You're going to go. I'm going to take A times B. Okay. You just did one like this. Everybody, let's roll. Let's take the first antiderivative, right? Which takes me back to f prime of x. Gives me, anybody at that point now where they're going to go x to the fourth and they go 2 divided by 4 1/2. Plus, those are always, these next one, that one's nice. That was all x cubed minus 2x squared plus 5x plus c. And then you immediately, f of 0, aren't those wonderful? When you get f of zeros, that's all 0. What's c, guys?
Is that supposed to be f prime? Yeah, 'cause they're both f.
Oh, they're both. Ooh. Ooh, what are we going to do then? We're going to take the derivative again. Let's see what we're going to do here. So then f of x is x to the 5th, 1/2 divided by 5. Some of you are going, I can't do that in my head. That's fine. 1/2 divided by 5 is what? 1/10? No, I just did it wrong. No, that's right, 1/10. That's right. Plus 1/4 x to the 4th minus 2/3 x cubed plus 5/2 x plus, oh, thank you, plus cx plus, come in with a new constant, let's call it d. Now, f of 0 is imperative here. All this becomes 0. What's d? 1. Okay, so I'm going to erase that d and put in a 1. Then I can use the f of 1 to find c. So I make this all, oh, this is going to be kind of ugly, isn't it? Okay, so 0 equals 1/10 plus 1/4 minus 2/3 plus 5/2. Some of you are like in panic mode right now. Plus c plus 1. You guys gonna be okay? You're going, if this isn't a calculator, I'm in trouble. Okay? What's the common denominator here? This would be... you guys are going that big? Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take 5/2 plus 1 is 3.5. See how I did that? So 2.5 plus 1 is 3.5. I'm going to subtract. That doesn't really help me. So I have 3.5. I have a 1/10. I have a 1/4. And I have a what? Negative 2/3 still. And that's your choice how you want to attack it from here. I guess what? 7/2, which is 14/4 plus a 1/4, 15/4 plus a 1/10, 40. I'm going to mess it up, but I'm going to try to do it in my head. 4, so 4 40ths, 154 40ths, minus 2/3, 120, so 3. Ah, crap, 154 times 3, 300. And 8 plus 54. I'm done. I know the answer. I got 109 minus 191 over 60. There you go. There's what C is. Yeah, I can explain how I got the D thing. When I took the antiderivative of C, that becomes CX plus another new constant, and I called it D. Let's take the antiderivative. So f of x equals, what's the antiderivative of cosine? Sine. So 3 sine x. What's the antiderivative of sine? Negative cosine. So negative 4 cosine x plus c. And then I tell you f of pi over 2 is 14. So 14 equals 3 times... What's the sine of pi over 2? What is it? 1. So 3 times 1 is 1 minus 4 times... What's the cosine of pi over 2? 0. So 4 times 0 is gone. So I have 3 plus c. So c is what? 11, so I can put that in as 11 right there. And there's my answer. You'd be like, you okay with that one? Get your sign, when I say sign, your positive or negatives proper for the cosine sign. Alright, here we go. I didn't have one of these on the quiz. Did you guys notice that? Because I saved it for the test. Find the point on the graph y equals x cubed closest to the point 2 comma 0. Since we're talking about closest, we're going to be talking distance formula. So let's write that distance formula out. So distance equals the square root of y minus y quantity squared plus x minus x. I'm not sure why I didn't do the x's first. You guys are probably wondering the same thing, but I'm wondering too. I was thinking slope mindset, wasn't I? But I'll fix it here. So distance equals square root. Let's plug in 2 for x, 0 for y. I'm going to do the x first, so it becomes x minus 2 quantity squared. Y minus 0 is just y squared, right? Do we want to plug in, do we want to square that now, or do you want to plug in, what's y? X cubed. Why don't we take this x cubed, plug it in right here? So what's x cubed squared? X to the 6. So now let's say the distance formula in respect to x would be, can I go ahead and square that binomial and make it x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus, again, x cubed squared becomes x to the 6. Eli, what's going on, bro?
Did you tell us that when we plug in x or y, the equation we can get rid of that?
We can get rid of what?
Or not the square root thing?
Yeah, you're ahead of me, bro.
Oh.
You're ahead of me. We will here right now. Let's just simplify still. So let's set that square root. How about I'm just going to rewrite it as x to the 6 plus x squared minus 4x plus 4. I know I'm being a little bit meticulous here. Now, what I'm boxing in, actually, what I'm highlighting is what we're going to just take the derivative of. Okay? So d prime of x, don't worry about the radical, would be 6x to the 5th plus 2x minus 4. Everybody follow me? We're going to set that equal to 0. Okay. If it's a non-calculator, you'd have to start synthetically dividing to find an x. That gives you a remainder of 0. Y'all with me? Well, I could factor out a 2. That may help me see it a little bit, but not a lot. Okay? But, so if I divided everything by 2 real quick, that becomes 3x to the 5th plus x minus 2. Why don't we go to our calculators, guys, and let's graph this, 3x to the 5th plus x minus 2, and let's see if we can find a real 0, and let's tell me what that is. So I'm gonna graph that and find a real 0. I'm gonna let you do it, because if I go to my calculator, I'll lose what I have up on there on the board. Graph it, Brendan. Quit looking at me. Go back to your y equals Maddie real quick. I think you made a mistake. Oh no, you graphed the original. Okay, you're good. You're good. Maybe it was a multiple choice question, so I. What's that? For what? My mistake?
Yes.
Hey, you should have to do 5 push-ups.
Yeah, 5 push-ups.
Oh my god.
For me making. So if I took the second derivative, what was the first derivative?
Plus x minus 2.
What was? So give me the 3x to the 5th plus x minus 2. So if I took the second derivative, that would be what? 15x to the 4th plus 1, which has to be a positive, which means concave up, which means it's a relative min.
What if it was a mix? And then
And then we're looking for the closest, so we're good. If it would have been not okay, then you're going, oh, wait a minute. I need to go back and evaluate endpoints. This isn't a good example for that because the endpoints it'd be like one where we, remember the wire or a box where you go, okay, all this, none of this, or all that, none of that. This wouldn't fall in that category of having an endpoint. It's going to work out.
Okay, because there are no, or you can't really.
Yeah, because we're talking about a graph and something else.
Okay.
That's a good question, Amy. Okay, this is the 3.7 assignment, and I think we're a little bit iffy on this. Okay, so d of y is simply, let's write this. D of y is simply the derivative of the function times d of x. Let's do that first. So follow me over to my function here. The derivative, so y, remember y prime actually means the derivative of y in respect to x equals, and what's the derivative of x cubed minus 2x? 3x squared minus 2. Everybody agree? So dy is 3x squared minus 2 times dx. And now I can find dy, everybody look up here, by plugging in 2 for x, and remember how we are delta x is approximately equal to dx. So I'm plugging in 2 here. 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 2 is 10 times delta x is approximately equal to d of x, so 0.1. And 10 times 0.1 is 1. So dy is 1. Everybody okay with dy? I'm giving you one of these on the test. Okay? Now I'm going to clear my page to do delta y. Everybody clear? Okay, so I'm going to go back. And now I'm going to do delta y. And remember delta y. Do we remember the formula for that one? That is the f. Do you think you remember it?
I was just gonna say, isn't it like approximately f of x plus delta x
Okay.
plus
Minus f prime x. Nice. Well done. So, f of what's x? What's delta x? So I'm actually going to find f of 2.1 minus f prime of x. Now what I recommend doing is finding f prime of x real quick, which we know is what? 3x squared minus 2. And you're going to find f prime of 2. Okay, let's find f of 2.1 first. So I'm going to go right here to my f function. Everybody grab their calculators. What's 2.1 cubed minus 2 times 2.1? I'm going to let you guys crunch those numbers and solidify that we're all in agreement this is what it is. What is it? 5.061. Do I have an agreement on that? Minus, you're going to plug in 2 into the derivative, which is what? Which is 10. We messed up somewhere. We messed up somewhere. it's not f prime of x, it's just f of x. It's just f of x. So f of, we never even need to find the derivative here. That's, I'm thinking of solving using differentials. Okay? So what's f of 2? 2 cubed 8 minus 4 is 4. So delta y, I apologize there, guys. Delta y is 1.061. And I think if we go to the next slide, dy is 1, delta y is 1.061. Amy, you weren't wrong. You were thinking of solving for differentials, and I did too.
Wait, so was that?
The formula, we'll go over another one here in a second of what you were thinking. Is everybody okay with dy and delta y? Did everybody get it fixed in their notes for the test? Make sure they have it right. Okay. All right, this is what I was thinking. We're going to use differentials to approximate the square root of 3.3. Now, this will be a non-calculator problem. Everybody with me on that? I don't know the square root of 3.3, but I do know the square root of 4. So I know the square root of 4. So right now, let's establish a couple things here. Okay? We can find this by, we know this. Here's what we were thinking. We're going to solve for the f of x plus delta x, which is approximately equal to f prime x dx plus f of x. What we're going to establish is f of x, and you saw me do this one the other day, is the square root of x. X is 4. Delta x is 4 plus what, giving me 3.3. So negative 0.7. While we're right here establishing things, f prime x, what's the derivative of square root of x? 1 over 2 square root x. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take this, not the x and the delta x, I'm going to take, so for this formula right here, my f prime of x is this 1 over 2 square root of x. I'm going to put it right here. 1 over 2 square root of x dx plus f of x is square root of x. Now, I'm going to find f of 3.3 because x is what, guys? 4. Dx is approximately equal to delta x, which is negative 0.7. This would be a non-calculator problem. So what's that? Negative 7/10 plus, I'm going to go ahead and write square root 4, and then now let's simplify. Okay? Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 1/4 times negative 7/10 plus 2. So negative 7/40 plus 2, which is what? 80/40 equals 73/40, and that's our answer. A side of a cube is measured to be 3 inches. Oh, no, we don't need to have to do that. I'm not going to put this one on your test. Propagated error I decided to remove from your test. Okay? You guys okay with that? You're not going to see it on the IU test. You're not going to see it on the final exam, so you're not going to see it on my, or you're not going to see it on the AP exam, so you're not going to see it on my exam. You should be begging me for this one. Find dy. Why is this one? Why do I consider this one an easy one? All you're going to do is do what? Take what? What did you say, Cam? I thought one. What do you mean? All you're going to do is do what? Take the derivative, multiply by dx. What do you got to do for the derivative? Quotient rule. Go. So this is the derivative in respect to x, dy dx. You guys getting 2x over the quantity 2x plus 1 squared times d of x. And I think
It's so much fun.